Well, about 15 minutes after PSG forward Ousmane Dembele was announced as the winner at last night's ceremony, Liverpool posted this on X with the caption, "A season to savour for Salah." Right, good morning, Charlie Austin. Was Salah robbed?
I'm going to say no. Not robbed because I think Dembele was a standout candidate, I think. How he performed for PSG, they've gone to win the Champions League. He's a standout one. So for me, he wasn't robbed. However, that shouldn't take away for how brilliant Salah was last year. He was phenomenal in the Premier League. Liverpool in the league, he was top scorer. So 47 goal involvements. He's been amazing. He was amazing. I just think that shows as much. Does the Premier League get almost overshadowed by the international kind of stage, really?
Yeah, well, I do want to get into that. I'll just show you some stats of how Salah and Dembele compared last season, because we'll show you that Salah scored more goals and provided more assists. There we go. Crucially, he won just one trophy. I mean, it was the Premier League. It wasn't just any old trophy, whereas Dembele won 3 trophies. But this is an individual award, not a team award. So how come Dembele?
But I think it's obviously down to certain parts of the criteria, etc. You can look at, if you go on individual numbers, you look at 32 goals to 29, 22 assists to 14 assists, but then the trophies 1 to 3. I think the biggest one is the PSG won the Champions League. That's the biggest one. And from where PSG have been as a team, as much as it's an individual award, as a team, it's all been about the superstar, etc. Dembele's been the one to kind of grab that team and take it forward. He has been the standout performer on the international stage away from English football.
I've got the criteria you've got is individual and decisive performance, goals, assists, statistics, influence on the game and consistency throughout the season.
Yeah, but I'm on that and I agree. And Salah ticks all them. Salah also ticks all them. But I just think the Champions League is the one that tilts it the other way for Dembele, and that's why he's won.
Well, this is why we're going to get on to whether the Premier League is undervalued, because that argument that Dembele won the Champions League as well as the French League Cup double, but if you take it into the women's vote, Arsenal won the Champions League and Alessia Russo, I'm talking about here, by the way, won the Champions League and won the Euros with England, but she was third. So it doesn't seem consistent.
But I think when it always comes around to these kind of awards, there's never really that consistency. And when certain players tick the criteria, you think, yeah, they should win it. Ultimately, they don't. So where we're going about the men's game regarding winning the Champions League, and on the international stage, and in the women's game, that's something that's obviously not happened, because we win the Champions League and win the Euros and still don't win Ballon d'Or.
So that's English football with the Premier League and WSL. With the Premier League, now Rodri did win it last season, in fairness. However, Spain had won the Euros. Yeah. Before that, you've got to go to Cristiano Ronaldo, who won it when he was at Manchester United in 2008. And then before that, you've got to go all the way back to Michael Owen when he won it when he was at Liverpool in 2001. So why is the Premier League not seen as valuable, as important to win as other competitions around Europe?
To the Ballon d'Or, yes. I think everybody that watches football and takes a keen interest knows that the Premier League is the best league in the world. I think everybody knows that. But when it comes down to that individual award, it seems like we do get brushed off, and I don't see the reason why. But like I said, when have you heard someone from England or an English player kind of say, right, my dream is to win the Ballon d'Or? It's more of the foreign players saying, look, Ballon d'Or's the one trophy that we'd love to win, that's what I want to win, where don't really come from English players or English mindset, really.
In terms of, again, the Premier League, Arsenal, they reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. OK, they didn't win it, but they reached the semi-finals. In the Europa League, it was an all-English final when Tottenham beat Manchester United. Chelsea also won the Europa Conference League as well. But only 2 players from the Premier League make up the top 20. The other one, by the way, was Cole Palmer. So you've got Salah in 4th, Cole Palmer in 8th. See, that doesn't seem fair either, because English clubs were dominating the rest of Europe, and Arsenal did reach the semi-finals of the Champions League.
But I think we're dominating European football, and you can see that with Chelsea in there, Tottenham and Man United, and Arsenal get into the semi-final.
Club World Cup as well, Chelsea.
Yeah, of course.
Bring that in.
But when we're going on to them European competitions, let's be clear and straight to the point here. Conference League and the Europa League combined don't make up the Champions League. It don't matter how you look at it. they generally don't. So, yeah, Chelsea won the Conference League. Look at the teams they played to get there, and they won. Fantastic. Tottenham and Man United win the Europa League, and they're in the final. No, that's past, because I think what overshadows that is their league form and what happened last year. The Champions League is where clubs want to be and teams want to win.
Well, on our Sky Sports News X account, we are asking the question, does the Ballon d'Or matter? And see what the viewers are saying. And wow, 77% are saying no, it doesn't matter. Is that a bit of a surprise? Well, obviously not, because you don't think
it isn't. Either. And also, to pick you up on that, I had Danny Murphy say yesterday that they didn't really celebrate when Michael Owen won the Ballon d'Or. He come into the training ground with it. They give him like a round of applause and then just got on with it. I think that's just the mindset of English teams, I think.
It's quite interesting. Right, well, Sky Sports have partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, scan that QR code there or visit the Sky Sports app. We can speak to Liverpool fan Abigail Rudkin now on this situation with Mo Salah and the Ballon d'Or. Abigail, hello again. Let's straight to it. Has Salah been robbed?
Yeah, well, I think fourth's a complete joke. How does Mo Salah finish fourth? He literally has one of his best seasons ever. He's done this consistently for 8 years at Liverpool at the top level. He's 33. I don't understand how he just keeps being disregarded in these ways. It's absolutely ridiculous. And like you say, it can come down to the Champions League, whether you win it, and we did go out to PSG. That's the top and bottom of it. But the year we won the Champions League, Van Dijk should have won it, and he didn't. And it just feels as though we're sort of disregarded in different ways. And I know, does the Ballon d'Or really matter is another argument, and I'd say no, but it means a lot to Mo Salah. He mentions it in interviews all the time, and it is something that he wants as a personal accolade. And I think the Ballon d'Or is meant to be about personal performance, but it's coming down to whether your team's won the Champions League. At the end of the day, the French league is not of the quality of the Premier League, in my opinion. Mo Salah goes and wins the league with a new manager, basically carries that team, getting as many goals as he does, goal contributions and assists, wins Playmaker of the season, wins Player of the season, PFA Player of the season. He gets all these personal accolades, but then he gets fourth. He's not even in the top three. It feels like a disgrace as a Liverpool fan for him to only finish fourth.
Like Abigail, he couldn't have done no more, right? That's clear to see on the pitch, goals and assists and what he's done for Liverpool. He couldn't have done no more. He ticked all the boxes to either win it, come second, or come third, top three, definitely not fourth for anything outside of that. I just think ultimately it does come down to the Champions League. And I just go for it. Dembele ticks all the boxes. They're similar to Mo Salah, not to the stats or to the number of goals or the assists, etc. And then the only one that's different is the Champions League. And I feel like that is the most dominant thing. I know you argue about when Virgil should have won it back in 2019. Person that won it, Lionel Messi. Whenever he's won it, nobody's ever argued that he shouldn't have won it. So it's like a tough one. I just think Premier League players and the Premier League, coming down to that individual award, has always been disregarded, because you just have to look all the way back to when the last player had won it from the Premier League.
Yeah, but you say that, but then Cole Palmer finishes 8th. Like, he didn't have a better season than Kvaratskhelia, Kane, there's other players like that, even Van Dijk. Why
But they ain't worried
Cole
about
Palmer
finishing 8th, Gary. Like, in that, Abigail, the only one you want to win it, don't you? Like, the rest is almost irrelevant.
But I can't understand how someone like Virgil van Dijk then finishes 28th. It feels ridiculous, and it just makes me disregard the whole thing. For Virgil van Dijk to win the Premier League with Liverpool in the manner that he did, to then finish 28th, Mo Salah to finish 4th. The moment I saw Van Dijk had finished 28th, I thought Salah's got no hope here.
That's our mindset, isn't it? Like, for us, I think that's the English mentality. Like, if we don't come first, second or third, it's like, all right, that's fine. Or if you see, like you say, Virgil van Dijk finishing 28th, you're like, well, how has this managed to happen? Surely he is not there. He should be higher up than it. That's obvious to everybody to see, really.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I'm not arguing that Dembele shouldn't have won it. Fair enough, he had an amazing season. It's fine. I think he probably should have won it. I think it was really close between him and Salah. But at the end of the day, how does Yamal get second if he wasn't the age that he was? I don't think he'd be getting second. Vitinha gets third. It makes no sense to me why Mo Salah finishes 4th. It's just, after the season that he had, he's just so underrated, and he's so underappreciated by everyone else except Liverpool fans, in my opinion. And you see even Liverpool's Twitter, like you have shown, they posted a big thread of all Salah's amazing achievements, all his amazing goals and stuff like that from the last season to let him know that he is appreciated by us. But at the end of the day, he deserves it. He's been consistent for 8 years, and I don't understand how he continues to be overlooked outside of the Premier League again and again.
Yeah, to back you up there, what you just said there, there's a WhatsApp message on the bottom of the screen from someone called Mark. Says if Salah played for Barcelona or Real Madrid, he would have at least won 2 Ballon d'Ors. I was very surprised to hear that he'd never even made it into the top 3. You say that he's underrated, Salah. Are Liverpool also underrated around the rest of Europe? And is the Premier League either underrated or just being disregarded?
Well, possibly, but in my mind, I don't know if it's because I just go and see the Premier League every week. I see the Premier League as the best league in the world, and I thought that was pretty much a mutual thought around the world, considering we have such big watchers in the likes of America, and other parts of the world. Everyone watches the Premier League, so I don't understand how we can be so underrated in these ways. I can't wrap my head around it, because to me, it's the best league in the world. And yeah, I think that comment is right. I think if Salah was playing for Barcelona or Madrid, he'd have won 2 Ballon d'Ors by now. I think that's spot on. I don't know if it is a Liverpool thing or what, but at the end of the day, I think that's probably it for me in the Ballon d'Or and deciding whether I actually care who wins it.
There's another message from a fan called Phil who says the Ballon d'Or is like the Eurovision Song Contest. The UK never gets the votes, right? Charlie, you've got a point to make.
Yeah, but like with the Premier League, we are the biggest league in the world, and we track the best players. Like, we attract the best players worldwide.
Obviously not. We don't have Dembele.
Yeah, but everybody. But everyone wants to play in the Premier League. Like, everybody wants to play in the league. And why don't Yamal? Because he plays at Barcelona. Dembele and Vitinha are at PSG, right? But the top players, other than Messi, didn't come, and obviously everyone's like, I wish Messi come to the Premier League. But we attract the best players. We are the best league in the world. And I just think, for me personally, I just think the Ballon d'Or and the Premier League, it don't fit. It don't matter what you do in the Premier League. You're not gonna win the Ballon d'Or.
Well, clearly not. But, Salah's still got this season to play. He's got another season after this for Liverpool. I know he's 33, but who knows what could happen next. There's an AFCON coming up. I think if you do well for your country, you can also finish higher. But like I've said, for him to finish 4th this year, and obviously we've got Isak, Ekitike, other players like that who'll be contributing to goals this season, I think it'll be more fairly shared around, to be honest, the contribution. So I don't know if he'll be able to go and do it next season, to go and win it. It felt like this was the opportunity for Mo to get it.
Exactly, because you're almost looking at it going, OK, well, what do I need to do now then? What do I need to do more to win exactly. The Ballon d'Or? And that, for me, what does he need to do more? Well, the only easy one is to go and win the Champions League. Like, that's it, and then replicate the numbers that we'd seen last year. And obviously, if he does that, then, listen, there's a serious argument that he should be winning the Ballon d'Or.
If we'll move away from the Ballon d'Or, but stay with Liverpool, Abigail, it's Southampton in the Carabao Cup tonight. So, I mean, you'll be thinking this will be the first of your quadruple.
Oh, here we go with the quadruple again. Just that word, it's just used on Liverpool all the time, every week. It's just this pressure's just put on us to win the quadruple. But at the end of the day, Slot said you're not going to see Salah, Virgil, Ibu, players like that tonight. We're going to have to properly use the squad. So I think it's quite exciting that we'll get to see some of the other players. We've got the likes of Leone that we haven't seen at centre-back, who's only 18, but we paid a lot of money for him. I think we'll see him tonight. Get Frimpong a little bit more game time. And I think Isak will probably get a full 90 minutes, which is probably a little bit sad for players like Jadon Danns, who are looking for game time for Liverpool, but that's how good this squad is. So can we go and win a quadruple? Yes, we can, but I'm not putting that pressure on us yet. It's just a word that's just used against Liverpool all the time to just add this pressure onto us more than anyone else. I'm just going one game at a time. The fact that we're literally 5 points clear in the Premier League right now, and we're not going to be taking our foot off the gas anytime soon. It feels like we're in 3rd gear at the minute. I can see us going as far as we can in most competitions, but I don't want to say it too soon.
I just see Liverpool, like you're saying, there can be squad players, and he's mentioned 4 or 5 that are not going to play, but that just shows the strength and depth that he has. Like, Isak was on the bench, 125, Wirtz on the bench, 115. Talk about Frimpong coming into play also. I know you've got about the youngsters, Jadon Danns looking for game time, but that just shows, for me, how strong Liverpool are, but also that's the competition now Jadon Danns is up against. Like, it's not a given for youngsters to be given opportunities in the league, because starters or known starters in the first team are actually not starting. They're on the bench and they need minutes also to get up to speed as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happens when you spend as much money as Liverpool have. You're going to have players that are just sitting there that need game time. The fact that we've got Ekitike, who's playing absolutely amazing, and Alexander Isak to come in, it's the thing of dreams for Liverpool fans, to be honest. But it's very different from what we had with Jurgen, because Klopp always loved to have the young lads play these games. You know, the youngsters won us a final that time against Chelsea, so there's that whole thing around it. Arne Slot's not like that at all. If players need minutes, and you know, the first team players, he's just going to give them the minutes. The kids haven't got as much of a chance, I don't think. I think he's decided he's making his own sort of, you know, the whole Galactico
That's football,
thing.
Abigail. That's football, and you've got to earn the opportunity. It's not a given scenario where you'd be like, so I leave a couple of players out, because that's part and parcel of it. And what Jurgen done with the younger players and giving them the opportunity, was amazing. But they didn't have the strength and depth that Liverpool have now, where it just shows now they've got to do more, almost to get into them plans of being part of the cup team or even on the bench in the Premier League.
Yeah, and it's the best position for us to be in, to be honest. What more can we ask for as Liverpool fans, to have these sort of players? The fact that I'm going to go to Anfield tonight and probably watch 90 minutes of Alexander Isak is just unbelievable. Yeah. You know, this early on in that competition. What more can you ask for?
Yeah. Abigail, great to speak to you. Thank you.
Thanks.